Welcome back to Under Construction with Chapman Building. Today we're chatting to Jason about dam proofing. And if you're an ex-Vali like me, my understanding of waterproofing in Joburg is nothing like what we've experienced down here. Jason, you're going to fill us in.
Sure. So let's talk about conditions. Okay, so the main reason why you would have not understood the waterproofing is, Joburg obviously dry and sort of also hot and very cold conditions, and here we've got a little bit more mild but large fluctuations in humidity and a lot higher temperature coupled with that humidity, which adds to the corrosiveness of the environment and also the retention of moisture in whatever substrate the water is being discharged into. So in Joburg, if we have a leaking shower and we take that same leaking shower and we bring it to Durban, in Joburg you'll probably find that because of the dry air, the moisture saturates into the brickwork, which is like a sponge, and concrete as well to a lesser degree, a little bit more dense. But because of the dry air and the dry environment, it dries out and what have you, and you don't actually see the moisture coming through. Whereas in our area, there's so much moisture in the air and everything already that as soon as there's a bit of ingress, it overwhelms the area, and that saturation then becomes evident on the other side of the substrate. So, you then have to, factor that, yes, in a normal application in Johannesburg, we would have, painted on a product or poured a silicone-based product that soaked in and sealed up the cracks, and we didn't have a problem. That, unfortunately, doesn't work here. Because of the harsh environment and the consideration that building is a process. And if there's a failure in the process, you can't fix it from the top. You can't take a leaking bucket and just put a plaster on the outside. You need to completely reline the internal areas of the bucket or place another bucket inside the bucket. So replace, being the key word there. So when there's a failure in the process, as we explained, you have to undo the process till you expose the point of failure. And at that stage, you then remedy the point of failure, and then you sort of reinstate the other levels, the screed, the plaster, and the paint or tiling or whatever it is to finish off as per.
And so many people don't follow that and end up having to redo.
Yeah, look, that's a very common thing that we find in our industry is people not, doing their proper due diligence on what people are proposing, and there's a lot of people that just come past and swing a whole lot of BS your way, and a lot of people go through life conning people into paying their money for stuff that is never going to materialize and never be successful. So yeah, look, we can't help everyone, and not everyone is going to go and Google and be able to find and understand the information to accurately contest a contractor that's giving them a load of hog's wallop or whatever, hogswash. But I hope that maybe this would be one of those platforms that people can then click onto Belito TV and get a little bit of an educational snippet on, how they could save themselves money and time and frustration and, yeah.
And would you say the minute that there is that first bubble in a wall that appears, to do something about it quickly? What do people do? Because I know when I saw the first bubble moving down here from Joburg, I actually went and scraped it because I wasn't too sure what it was. If it was paint peeling because the house needed to be repainted, or if it was damp. Yeah. So an ignorant person like me, what advice would you give?
Yeah, look, it's always good to act on those first indications. We always say, again, because of the environment that we live in here in this area, preventative maintenance is something that if we stay on top of, you will save yourself lots of money down the line. So if you identify that bubble, you then look at other areas around the bubble. What's on the other side of the wall? What's above it? What's below it? Is there a joint that's perhaps not sealed? Is there a shower on the other side that might be leaking? Are there taps in the wall, and is there damp around those fixings? Could it possibly be that? Another thing to consider is that water will always follow the path of least resistance. So, if you've got a conduit that's cut through the brickwork and the electrical going to a plug, The water, if the water is saturating a wall, you may not see it, but it'll track along that conduit and then come out the plug, which is often why you see damp around plugs and switches. So yeah, that's also, so you got to basically look at the bubble and then see if you can identify any of the contributing factors. If you do, then by process of elimination, you attend to those and you try and do a localized repair to try and mitigate the damp. If it's a severe damp problem and it's manifesting on the underside of the ceiling or something downstairs, then you obviously need to go to more aggressive testing. So flood dye testing, where we block outlets of a shower or a patio and we fill it up with water. So put it under flood conditions for 72 hours and then we put a fluorescent dye in. And then that dye will follow any area, and if it is leaking, it'll manifest. We check with a UV light, and then we know. And with that data, we can more accurately ascertain what the point of ingress is. So,
yeah, very interesting indeed. And we are going to be showing and telling. We're going to be showing our viewers different applications, different things to look out for. So I'm really excited for that. So let's head on out.
yes, let's do it.
Jason, we're going to be chatting more about the process of waterproofing, damp-proofing. Are they the same thing? Am I correct?
Much of a muchness, yeah. So let's dive straight into it, into the pond of waterproofing one day. So yes, waterproofing and damp proofing are much of the same. I think they might refer to the two sides of it, one being more bulk work, dams, stormwater, or retaining walls rather, attenuation tanks, reservoirs, and then the other would probably relate to smaller applications like showers, windowsills and other residential applications, roofing, that sort of thing. So what I've brought along today are products from the waterproofing centre. They're the suppliers of the Derby gum product, very commonly known to everyone. And ultimately what I've got here is the application for a more heavy duty application, which is the torch-on application, which we'll start off on, which is patios and more the bulk civil side of things, patios, retaining walls, and so on. So basically, as you can see and feel, it is a rubberized product. This one specifically is 3 millimeters thick. Okay, it comes in a roll, and then as we unroll it, we burn it with a gas flame torch. And that gets the material nice and soft, and then allows it to adhere to an already primed surface. So that obviously offers our waterproofing protection. And it comes in different grades. This one, for instance, horticultural. This has obviously got a root preventative in it. So if you're going to be doing a planter box, for instance, on a roof garden or something, then you would use an application like this.
Oh, wow.
Then there are other products that are, some waterproofing applications come with this strengthening element built in, but this is called Silbond. It's basically a fiberglass grid mesh that is installed again over the rubberized. It's got an adhesive sort of side on the back, which is then adhered on and onto this waterproofing, and then that's now reinforcing, that fiberglass is now reinforcing, so it allows for, in the event of movement and that sort of thing, that your waterproofing doesn't sort of get any damage, and then also try and protect whatever surface you put on top, tiling or whatever, it assists with making sure that doesn't.
Interesting.
And then you've got other sort of flashing and counter flashing and mastic tapes, just rubberizing tapes that you would use on the corners, the junctions of walls and floors. Obviously a big part of before you put on any of these rubberized applications or any waterproofing application is to prepare your base and prepare your substrate. If you can imagine, if we want water to flow out of something, we have to make sure that it's got to fall to the outlet. So we can't have it sort of all the water sitting on this side and the outlet far on the other side.
Because then none of this is going to work, correct?
Yeah, sitting water will always be a problem. It will always find its way through eventually, so you want to try and sort it out straight off the bat. So first of all, what we do, let's go through the process. and then we'll touch back on the product, is we would demolish whatever's there, if there's an existing product, or we get back down to the concrete level, which is our base level. We can't go any lower or any deeper into the structure than that, so our concrete would basically be our starting point. Then from that point we set our outlets, and then we screed the whole entire area to fall, whether it's adding outlets or using the existing ones if they're sufficient, but we'll do a design of that screed based on the outlets and where it needs to go, and then the screed will be done to those falls.
Okay.
You know, once that's done, basically any water that falls on that surface area will run to the outlet. So that's achieving stormwater control in terms of runoff. And now you want to control the stormwater and rain in terms of the saturation, which is where these products come in. So first you need a primer. You prime your screed surface. It's a petroleum-based bituminous primer. Obviously you're using this application. Then you would torch on your waterproofing system. You would then apply your Silbond or tile-safe option.
Okay.
And then you would put your tiling on. And then this product, which you've been very keen to touch, this is just it's a drainage sheet, so it comes in long sheets.
Yeah.
Again, a roll, and you would roll that out. Say if you've got a flat garden roof or something, and then you want water to flow and not sit below it,
yes.
so that would go in, and then some bidim or geofabric, and then your stone or pebbles or whatever would go on that. So any water is then running between those grooves and the waterproofing.
Well, that's totally fascinating to me. It sort of puts the whole realm of waterproofing and dam-proofing into a different genre here.
Yes, so again, we've touched on the bigger issues. So there are other products available for less risky, less intense applications, such as showers. You know, you do get cementitious products as well that work with or without a membrane. We do prefer in this area, and we do live in this area, and this is Belito TV, that you know, mostly petroleum-based products are used because of the stretch, and they're used with a membrane of some sort, because like I've mentioned, we've got high fluctuating temperatures in the area. We've got a high humidity, which with those temperatures causes massive expansion and contraction between the various materials that our buildings are made out of. So they don't all expand and contract at the same rate, and that causes movement and differential settlement and a whole variety of issues that you want something that's got enough thickness, enough stretch, you know,
to work
enough
properly.
tolerance, yes, and not only for 5 years, for 25 years. You know, everything has a life, so it's not going to last forever. And most of these products are maintenance free. You know, they go under a set of tiles and away you go. But yeah, there's just a quick brief introduction to waterproofing.
No, that's amazing. And you've spoken about the lifespan. So many people might have done waterproofing in their homes years ago. How regularly should things like this be checked? Or when purchasing a new house or building a house, I think the knowledge of how often this has to be redone or checked is also important.
Yeah, look, I think if you're buying a house, let's go on that, because that happens a lot in town. Any damp or waterproofing needs to be looked at, because immediately you're going to be in for some extent of repairs, and like we've explained, if you're going to fix something, you go back in the process and you undo everything until you get to where the point of failure was or where the omission in the detail was, and then you redo it. So that is going to incur cost to get back to that point, incur cost to fix it, and incur cost to reinstate everything. So any damp when buying a house should be looked at. You know, we do inspections for homeowners. We offer home inspections and then offer a quote for the repair, and then if the quote's accepted, we take off the home inspection cost, you know, so that it doesn't end up costing them, but we end up getting business and it works. So, you know, that option we've made available to a lot of estate agents in town, and a lot of them do use it, and they find value for them and their clients.
Excellent, sure. Well, there you have it, people. I'm sure you've been educated as much as I've been with relating to damp proofing and waterproofing. Thanks so much, Jason. I hope you've all been as educated as I've been today, chatting to Jason about dam-proofing and waterproofing. Thank you so much, Jason. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Under Construction with Chapman Building. Till then.